Hey, and welcome to After the Weekend. This is JT Gunn, also named Cap. And then on the what side are you on? The right side or the left side? R2theIcky. How's it going, man?
I'd like to think I'm on the right side.
Okay. You're on my left or your right?
I just hope I'm not on the wrong side. That's all. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for being here. I'm
Yeah.
R2theIcky's.
Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought after that one. Tonight we're doing something slightly different. I'm looking forward to it. This was kind of a fun idea, and we're everybody's going to have their own turn at this, but we're doing our favorite posters and videotape box art.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm excited to see what you pick because I do not know what you selected.
It was one of those things. It's like, I have an idea for, this, but then it was like, some of it's like, well, I know I'm missing other things. So I looked at some lists, things like that. And a lot of them were not a lot of help. Not only that, a lot of them I'm like, really? Like, that's a really good poster to a lot of people. I was kind of surprised, but
well, before you get with your list, I just want to remind everyone that to go ahead and check out our past videos with the top 5 rental videos for 1980s and the 90s. And then we also have the top 5 rentals of our video games for the 1980s and into the 90s. Those seem to be pretty fun videos. So go ahead and check those out. And R2, I think we're kind of close to 600 subs. I think we're I don't know, around 15 away from that. So
20 or 15, definitely in that area, which is exciting.
Yeah, so if you are new and you like what you see here, hit the like button, but also please subscribe. That would be great.
Yeah, so we would certainly appreciate that, and
we
hope you enjoy this. I was going to say the top 5 video rentals kind of inspired us to kind of do this, just because it brought on a lot of reminiscing of just better times.
Yeah, maybe one day if we get like memberships or anything that on our channel, if we get that cool, we can like make like after the weekend rental cards.
That would be we probably could. My wife has one of those Cricut things, and I'm not kidding, she's pretty good at it. We have an acquaintance that we're friends with, Mr. Wicked Whitey's Wicked Workshop. And he does a lot of like 3D stuff and creates like in his own home, like Star Wars
stuff. Channel.
Yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal stuff. And
he hasn't been on in a while, but he's a friend of the channel.
So, he's been busy, but it's a great channel. Whitey's Wicked Workshop. Go check that out. But the wife sent him a bunch of stickers once, and he was like floored with. He's like, "How'd she do all this? What'd she use?" And I'm like, "A Cricut." And he's like, "I got one. I can't get my stickers to look this good." And I'm like, "I don't know. Tell you, she just followed the instructions. That's all I know."
All right. So, well, you have a list, you said, and you said you picked.
I got some
4
slides.
5. Okay. All right. So you R2's favorite movie posters and VHS covers. So the fun thing about VHS covers was sometimes they were different. You don't have to give it away, but were any of these different than the VHS covers?
No, actually, they're not. Sorry to be disappointing there, but yeah, they were not. And I genuinely, looked, and I was pretty surprised. I was actually able to find people who sadly had taken boxes, flattened them, but made a scan of the box.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Also, the one thing I liked about VHS cover art and covers was if you flipped it over, right? That was your description of the movie, and there was always one or two images of the movie
Yes.
on the back, and you would get a little detail about what the movie was. Nowadays, on a streaming, you just hit the info button, and it gives you a little preview or a trailer or something, and you get a little insight into it. But I always liked reading the back of them. That's one of the neat things at the video store. If you're trying to pick a movie, you would always flip that over and read through it and see if you really liked it.
But streaming though also has some pretty weak descriptions. They're nowhere near as detailed as
Yeah, we'll
what
find. Yeah.
what you got back. Well, even to not only a VHS but even a DVD. They don't have the same detail there.
No, and sometimes they don't even have trailers. They just have like some image
Yeah,
of the video. Yeah,
or it's not even a trailer; it's a clip from it. But it's just, again, that doesn't necessarily give you the story. But
right. So we're gonna go down memory lane here
yeah,
and kick
and
this off.
one thing I'll say with my list, if you've ever watched any of our live shows, I did the intros for those, so you can clearly see the inspiration there when as you view my list too. So I don't think it's going to really surprise too many people
Okay.
what my favorites are. Let's put it that way.
Are they below or around a certain rating?
You mean like PG, R?
Yeah.
Pretty much everything is majority of it is all PG-13 below.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. All
and
right.
a
Well,
lot too is coming from me as a kid, seeing things and what I was able to rent, because that stuff has stuck with me longer. So,
I get
um,
it. Yeah.
it wasn't like when I was little, I was able to just rent an
Are
R-rated movie.
these going to be ranked by your least favorite
No,
to your most favorite or year?
no, I didn't rank them at all. I just kind of went through. I'm like, I love that one. I love that one. Um, it's
Okay.
tough for me to truly give like an all time, because I don't know. I like too much stuff, I guess. So
And you might have mentioned this, and we will mention this again. Yes, R2 is doing his list first, and then Beard of Liberty, which he could not make it tonight. He's traveling. He is going to do his own list, and then I will do my list. So you'll have three of these videos of each of us showing our list of movie posters and VH covers that we enjoyed. And it's usually probably going to be around the decade of when you were renting movies at a video store. So let's go ahead and do your first one then.
yeah, to me, this is what started it all with.
Like, I'm
I'm
like
just saying,
in
it just
suspense.
okay. All right, all right. Well, it's
There you
Jaws.
go. All right.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such an iconic poster. The shark coming up, the woman swimming. Um,
Yeah. This
you
is
just
pretty terrifying.
it tells you all it's gonna go bad.
And I would say it's probably if you hid the word Jaws, right, and you showed this to people that maybe weren't movie buffs, they would know that this was Jaws.
Yes.
It really just stands out. I have a coffee mug with that poster.
Um,
So
I
it's pretty
I saw
popular.
this movie at a young age, probably younger than I should have. And I've told the story before. I saw this like when I was 5 years old. My parents let me watch this, and I had a fear for the longest time that a shark would swim up to the toilet and bite my butt off, and I was terrified to go poop. And this film has terrified me of large bodies of water. Even now that I'm a 41-year-old adult, it's still like gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit. But it's the the OG summer blockbuster. I mean, that's what created the genre.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just so iconic. And I mean, if you haven't seen this before, sorry, spoilers. I mean, I'm definitely showing off some pictures of some of the greatest moments from it. But at the same time, the bottom two I love are just behind the scenes where, we see, I can't think of his name right now. The guy who played Quint, just hanging out while they're getting ready to
that's the
set up the shark.
mechanical shark there that they use. It broke down a
Yeah,
lot.
it did. Bruce, the full Bruce, and then you even see in the bottom right there's Steven Spielberg crawling out of it.
What's
Which
funny is the shark in Finding Nemo is named Bruce.
yes, and that was named after Spielberg's lawyer. That's where that came along. But this is actually a movie we have not reviewed yet. We need to do it.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
is
we should.
which is surprising we haven't gotten around to this yet. But we definitely need to do it. I was gonna say too, with like the bottom two photos, a lot of times with my son, if we watch something that might slightly be scary, a lot of times I will show him these types of pictures of like behind the scenes to be like, it's fake, like it's not something that can really like
You're too
harm you
nice.
or hurt you. I know. I mean, I like to explain things to them.
No, you need to be terrified of the
I
water.
know. I know. And then here's the box art. I mean, there's been a lot of variations, but
Yeah.
this was the best scan I could find. It actually comes from VHS.
I like how it says adult.
Yeah.
It says adult on there.
Yeah. Now this could be. It was kind of tough because some of these I think do come like Australia or UK, so they could potentially have rated things differently. But
Well, it says
this was
PG on the box cover.
this was the best scan I could find.
That's a cool one because if you look down there, I think it says 1983 Canada on that sticker. That's
okay.
cool. Yeah. So it's an old one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the description there that we were talking about where it's, Jaws is one of the greatest box office attractions in history of motion pictures. So even if you haven't seen this movie, that first line there would, well, yeah, I want to rent this.
Yeah. Well, if you've ever seen like the trailer, I want to say like the tagline is, it's like imagine God gave the devil teeth. Like that was like
yeah.
and
you got the runtime there too, color.
Yeah.
Very clear. This is in color. You got studio on there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like this. This is neat. This brings you back. So.
Yep. Oh yeah. And again, it's one of those things where I've thanks to our buddy Def Row, I've gotten back into collecting older media, and I do need to find myself a copy of Jaws. Whether it's an older version or a newer version.
You could find one in like Goodwill or some other random thrift shop.
Yeah, I have recently discovered a thrift shop, flea market out here that they get a lot of stuff. And as much as I like the older, closer to the initial release, I probably would rather have a newer version of it just because I know it would play better. So less chance of mold on the
tape, my favorite scene of this entire movie was the scene when it's right before everything goes down. They're all three of them on the boat at night, and Quint tells his story about the ship that sunk. Yeah, the Indianapolis, and why he's the whole sharks. That was a true story, and that really happened to people.
Yeah, and that's why he won't wear a life preserver. That's what it is.
Right. And that whole scene just really sets the tone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Well, they're all telling stories. They're drinking. It's kind of a moment of relief, and they're sharing stories of scars. And Quint, it's Robert Shaw who plays Quint. And then he's talking about his scars, and Hooper's talking about his, and then you've got Roy Schneider who plays Brody. All he's got is his appendix scar. And he's too afraid to say anything, but he tells a story, and it just kills all the levity that they were sharing at that moment. Yeah. But it is just such a phenomenal film, and it's inspired so many things too,
Right.
But
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo, exactly.
Alrighty. What's your next one?
So next one is, and this one I had a bonus.
I was like, this
I
doesn't
found
look like
this fake National Geographic with Hooper on it, which I just thought was phenomenal.
That's pretty fun.
And it
October
1974.
Okay.
And it says the town that survived.
Do you have any others? You make sure. Okay,
I have one other one, and I remember where it's at. I'm sorry, I forgot all about this.
No, you're okay.
These are all things that he talks about too: territoriality in sharks, and then his rogue shark theory, which was.
You know what? I have some. I think I have some National Geographics that look like that.
Yeah, I would almost love if there's somebody who's made a fake one to have this frame. This would just be
that'd be cool.
Funny thing, because some people would get it and other people would be like, "What is this? Like,
who is Matt Hopper?"
Yeah.
Don't you know he killed a big old shark?
Yeah.
And almost died.
But here's the next one. All right, I promise.
All right, here we go. All right,
Batman.
Batman. We've reviewed this movie.
We have
with our friend Joker Boys.
Yeah, we did. This was fun. This, I mean, just when this came out, this was just everywhere. That bat symbol was everywhere.
It was on cereal boxes.
I mean, poster was on bus stops. There's people who broke into those bus stops to get that poster. Not only that though, but there were people who were outraged when they found out that Mr. Mom was cast as Batman. 50,000 letters were sent to Warner Brothers. People sat down, wrote an angry letter, and mailed it in.
Yeah, nowadays they put it on X.
Yeah, they didn't put it on X. They didn't put it on Instagram or Facebook. They
mailed
a letter. What was interesting though is, the bat symbol on Batman that you could see those photos is not the same symbol that's on the
that always confused me when I was a kid.
They updated, and then that symbol actually was featured in the sequel. I always thought that was interesting. But
that's the symbol you see in most comic books, is the one on the cover.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of variations of it, but that's almost kind of very Art Adams. The blue and gray Batman symbol is almost kind of.
This was the only movie after, there was in this series of Batmans, where you got the, the oval with the symbol in the middle. Rest of them are all like these big wings on their chest. It's not like a little. I wish they would go back to that. I think the new Batman, his was metal, and he had he can pull things off of it.
The Robert Pattinson one.
I wish he would have had this symbol. That would have been kind of cool.
No, I did like Ben Affleck's Batman, which was very Frank Miller inspired. I mean, I love that look. But I do. One day, man, I want to see Art Adams Batman on the big screen. I mean, it doesn't have to be bright blue, but like navy blue in a dark gray. I think that would look.
You want Adam West?
Well, that inspired Adam West, but no, Art Adams. If you go look up Art Adams 70s Batman, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then, Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I mean, utterly phenomenal. I mean, it's one of those people where, I mean, it was a role that he was born to play. I mean, very fitting. He had so much fun in the role.
He did.
And
he also got paid the most.
He did. He made a lot of money off doing this, but this was just something that just, again, as a kid, very iconic. And, it was a lot of fun, even though too, it's also in a way, it's not very comic book accurate in terms of the character. I mean, Batman uses so many guns in this film for a guy that's supposed to be anti-gun, things like that. But it was big, and this also really started the trend of people owning VHS, owning home media of movies. And even if you have that VHS, there's a whole ad in the beginning about owning your own films at home. and having them be affordable, because prior to this they didn't make a lot of copies, and film, it was expensive. VHS copies were, 60 to like
Mm-hmm.
$150, and
Yeah.
this was the first mass produced where it was a like a $25 film. I think it was $20. I think they did intentionally make that price point be $20, and even then, back in '89, that was a lot of money to spend. But
Yeah.
it was affordable. It was a reasonable amount of money to go, yeah, I'll spend $20 instead of going to rent it, because
Yeah.
yeah, I want to
Yeah.
watch this movie a bunch.
Yeah. It was cool, and like I said, that same symbol was on cereal boxes, toys, shirts, all that kind of stuff. Very cool. Look at this. Movie
Yeah,
of the decade, 4-star, spectacular entertainment, a triumph of. See, I like the VH covers. You got that kind of stuff too. You got the whole rating sometimes.
but that one really doesn't have a description. I mean, it just tells you that, and
It's
then
just
below where it
it,
says
it's
Batman,
just
it's all the credits.
it's just Batman.
But
Um,
being Batman, you don't really need to know a whole lot. I mean, Batman is so well known. You know Batman, you know the Joker.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
looks like
that's
this. It almost looks like this VHS was in '94. So
it possibly.
because
I mean, again, I don't
yeah,
know the age
I'm,
of it,
I'm looking at the date down there. It looks like it's either 90 or 84, or it's probably 1990 or 94.
yeah. I mean,
Probably
at the earliest it'd be 90. But yeah,
yeah.
Batman. I mean, it just, again,
I mean, they made
very
this multiple times on VHS.
yeah.
I remember you could probably buy it
But
forever.
this is, for us as kids growing up, I mean, this was just such a huge thing, very iconic. And it just stands out, that just that black box, but with that gold oval
Yeah.
and the Batman symbol. I mean, how does that
Yeah.
just not, stand out at you?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, you would see that everywhere, so you would instantly know, even if you saw the side cover. Um, that's important too on some of these because sometimes they would stack them where you only saw the sides,
Yeah.
and you can clearly tell, that's a Batman.
Yeah. It pops out so well.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, we did this. So you want to check out our full review on that? You can. We did that a while ago on the channel, but it's
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
If it, 2 years ago, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
So, but that was a fun review.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yep.
and we'll have that in our description. Anything that we've reviewed that we're sharing here, it'll be in our description. So please check
Yep.
those out.
All
Uh,
right.
this is our one film we've reviewed twice. Or I should say,
Like
I've reviewed twice. I got to
we
do
did
this
we
with
did a
Maria
first review and then a re-review because the
and
first review
reread.
you were sick.
I was sick, but I had hyped this movie up so much, I was like, I couldn't bail on it. But I absolutely love this film. It is so quotable. I think I
And
for not being a superhero, Jack Burton is got to be my favorite film character. I mean, I just you
y-
know
yeah, he was such a fun character. And this cover art, it kind of looks like an Indiana Jones,
it is
adventure
very
style. And that was big in the 80s. Like you had Indiana Jones, you had Goonies, you had Gremlins, and a lot of them were just, look like this drawn type of style. Um,
um
so
this
it really stood out.
well, and I was just gonna say, I mean, like Jack Burton really is the blueprint of like Star Lord, which is
Hmm.
fitting because Kurt Russell went to go on to play his dad in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Right.
But it's just it's the best film that never got a sequel.
I
How
don't
I
think it
love
needs
this.
one. I don't think it needs one.
I It doesn't. At the same time, it's like I would love to have seen more adventures of Jack Burton, like. But the tough thing is the studio didn't know how to market this film. And it didn't find its feet until home video.
With the cover like that, yeah, a lot of people probably were drawn to it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's such an interesting story too, because again, even though Jack Burton's the main focus, really, when you stop and think about it, he's not the main character of the film. It's his buddy Wang. He's just along for the ride. He's there for the audience, is a good way to put it. Because his reaction to everything is how the audience feels with just stuff that happens, the stuff that he's being told. The guy pulls out, he's like, "I've got a 6 demon back." He's like, "Great." Then there's like they go through a cave, a monster comes out, eats a guy, and he's like, "The hell is that?" And again, we talk all about it, but even to his truck that you see at the bottom, the Pork Chop Express, is a character in the film. And
yeah,
when I was looking when he was looking all this up, I found somebody making Pork Chop Express trucker hats, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to go back and order one of those. I'm like,
his truck and the truck from Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, they should race those trucks.
I was just gonna say, if I ever win the lottery, I want to buy whatever model truck the Pork Chop Express is and have it just all redone and have my own replica Pork Chop Express. I'll go get that Class A license so I can drive it around. But I'm not kidding. I would.
You better actually do deliveries, because it's you do have to go through some intensive test. So
I just
You just want it. Okay.
I just want it.
I don't think you need a full license to own one. I think just to pull stuff.
Probably not, but if I want to be able to, if I just ever want to go drive it around.
I don't think it's only to pull stuff. I think you can literally drive it around.
Well, if I find that out, then I don't have to worry about getting the Class A license.
No,
if
you
that's
don't.
the case, I'm just saying. I don't need to pull anything with it.
You'll pull some. Yeah, maybe you'll pull like a party wagon with beer to liberty.
Yeah. A gaming wagon.
Gaming.
Yes. Gaming.
Like he says, make sure you say gaming. Yeah, good stuff. This was a fun movie. Again, we did a review on this. Oh yeah, CBS Fox Video. I remember these. I actually have some Star Wars videos, VHSs, a CBS Fox.
I wish I was on camera. I recently picked up those CBS Fox Star Wars films on tape.
Yeah, and this, I think the year down there says 1985 or 6. That's
It'd
pretty
be 86.
Cool.
Yeah. And I'm on the lookout for this VHS. So this one is always, everybody's got it somewhat pricey. So if I can find one that's got no mold,
and Kim Cattrall, she was really good back then.
They played off each other so well.
Yeah, you have the two like cutout scenes there in the water, and then I think when he's trying to sneak up, he's doing something there. High Adventure in the Underground Kingdom. Yeah, very cool.
Well, our friends over at Salty Nerd also reviewed this, and our friend Jude did such a good impression of those two. I wish we had a clip of it, because she does Jack Burton's all Mr. John Wayne. Hi there, little lady.
Yeah.
And then when she does like the Gracie Law, she's just like, "Hey everybody, it's me, Gracie Law."
So yeah, it's it's just a fun, another fun movie, another fun. Again, if you're in the video store, I mean, and you never heard of this movie before, I think this would draw your attention. So.
Let's put it this way: anybody who's never watched it, if they watch it today, it's certainly a wild ride.
It is.
And
it's John Carpenter, so
it is
always good stuff.
One of his few PG-13 films too. That's not an R.
99 minutes. This VHS.
Not a horror film. Yep.
99 minutes.
Well, on to the next one. Monster Squad.
We reviewed this movie too.
We did, and this was another one. I love that poster. And same thing as a kid. Like this was the kids' horror film. Of the 80s, where you got the classic Universal monsters there, and then you got this group of middle school kids who love monsters and how they all come about. I mean, it's pretty far-fetched, but it is just a very fun film.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I actually, when we reviewed it, I've never seen it before. And I like how it says, you know who to call when you have ghosts, but who do you call when you have monsters?
Yep, yep. And the practical effects, they're all, I mean, this is the time of practical effects, but it's all Stan Winston Studios. In fact, the Wolfman, his face is designed off of Stan Winston's. And again, all of them just did phenomenal.
And
How
some say,
well
this movie was like Goonies with monsters, right?
it is.
But
That's kind of a good way to describe
I
it.
think I think if you watch them side by side together, you may end up liking this one better. In some cases, so I just don't think it was as popular. Like it didn't have like enough
No,
pull. So I mean,
it
they literally have
wasn't,
the same characters.
and it wasn't. And you kind of right. Goonies had, even for the time, had child actors that people were familiar with, had seen.
Right.
This was, all these kids. I mean, they did this film, and you never really saw them again. Probably the only exception there is to the bottom right corner is Rudy. I can't think of his name, but he was on Kids Incorporated.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was in a couple shows.
yeah, he's on a couple shows.
Movies.
Yeah, and it's there are a few gruesome scenes. Wolfman gets blown up. The Gillman gets a 12 gauge through his heart. And even too, like the guy who plays Dracula, I mean, is so menacing and terrifying. Yeah, but again, it's it's a fun film to watch, and loved watching it as a kid. Again, that was just always like, I'd see that box at the video store, and it would just stand out.
So Rudy was played by Ryan Lambert.
That's right, Ryan Lambert. But yeah, I do remember him on Kids Incorporated.
Kids Incorporated, yeah.
Yeah, me and my sister used to watch that all the time on, I want to say it was Disney Channel.
Yeah, he did a little bit of stuff, and then he kind of just went away after the 80s. So.
Yeah. But same thing. I mean, like this, this is a good example of what you love, right? With the box art, where that box art catches your eye. And even too, like on this one, if you look at it, the box art fits the two of the monsters on the sides.
Yeah.
Where you got Frankenstein, and you got kind of your better shot at the Gillman there. And then it's got, like, that one's got a huge description regarding the film on it.
Just call 1-800-MONSTER, whether it's a bat in your bell tray or a mummy in your microwave. The Monster Squad ain't afraid of no ghouls. So they really were trying to go after the Ghostbusters here.
Ride the coattails of Ghostbusters. And this one, while looking for box art and everything, I stumbled upon something additional that when I want to say, when we did our review,
I just saw this. Call them for a monstrous good time. That wasn't on the poster. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good tagline.
And did you notice? I don't know if you noticed on the other VHSs, but if you look on these covers, I don't know if it's on the other ones, but it has an ISBN number. Those usually go with books.
Yeah. I was gonna say, just as you said that, I kind of noticed that too, and I don't think the other ones did.
So if people don't know what that is, you can literally take that number and search it through any library or even on Amazon and find a book. Every book has its own number, so it looks like VHSs were tagged with those. That's pretty cool.
Well, let's see as we go along if we catch any more of those, or maybe we're just missing them from the other ones, or maybe they were just real small.
Yeah.
On the print. But this, I did stumble on something else, and this is something too that I'm slowly trying to collect again, just because I get a big kick out of it. But soundtrack, and I mean, I think they're the same, but I couldn't really find out details on why the one was red, why the one was orange, but I thought both were cool. I'm like, just because they're not the typical clear, just black. And this film doesn't have anybody big, but it's got a very upbeat soundtrack to it. There's a lot of, I can hear the music from this movie when I think about it. And I think that's another reason too. What makes this film fun again is the music.
Yeah,
with the scores on it. So yeah,
very cool.
No, fun film. If you haven't seen it, check out Monster Squad, and yeah, check out our review of it in the description below.
All right. Number 5? Is this number 5?
This is we had Jaws, Batman. I can't
Monster
think
Squad.
Monster Squad,
and then you had Big Trouble in Little. This is number 5.
This is number 5. Yep.
All right.
Another one too. I mean, I remember seeing this book as a kid in the bookstore, and my dad had read it and told me about it. And then when they made it into a film, and sadly, this is kind of a another Spielberg film, right? This is one that used phenomenal practical effects, but for the faraway shots like you see up above, this was really the first film that brought CGI into the mainstream. I mean, CGI had been done in some other films, but never made an impact like this did. And I mean, to this day, the CGI in this movie from 1993, that's, over 30 years old, it holds up so well. But at the same time, it brought CGI into the limelight. It brought a lot of terrible special effects, unfortunately, too.
Right. And and this movie, similar to Batman, it had the one symbol, and your eye was drawn to that dark cover, and then you saw the one symbol.
The red and that yellow trim just pops at you, and it's just. But not only that, I mean, again, just the CGI. Then we see the raptor below in the clever girl scene, and then also too blew up the career of Jeff Goldblum there.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was popular. People knew who he was. He just got bigger.
He did some other roles before. He did The Fly back in the late '80s, a phenomenal horror film. But this movie, though, just brought him into the mainstream so much more, because after this, though, he was in so many films. I mean, a couple of years later, we had Independence Day and
Jurassic Park 2.
He was in the sequel to Jurassic Park. I mean, I think he's technically, he wasn't in the third one, but even to the last 3 that have come out, he was in 2 of those. And but it really shot up his stardom there. But just, as a 10-year-old watching this, just love this. I mean, I was a kid that loved dinosaurs too, so I mean, bringing them to life.
I actually, when you bring up the VHS, I still have this. I still have the VHS cover.
That's awesome.
It's in pretty good condition. We still have this. I don't know if it's exactly the same as this one, but it's over there standing on the shelf. But yeah, it is a same big logo, same side there. If you saw this vertically, you knew this was, and then you still got the nice description on there.
Yeah.
And it does have the ISBN number.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, and this one was cool because I mean, the cover art is the poster, so you had all your credits on the front, and then it left a fair amount of room for all that art.
And it did tell you the book, based on the book. So if you didn't know about it was a book, you can quickly go find that book with the author there. And it shows another picture of the dinosaur and the kids. It's so happy in this movie in the back here, though. If you didn't know this was a terrifying movie, you would be like, "Oh, this looks happy."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If you didn't know about this movie, and you're in the movie theater and in the movie store, and you're like just trying to find something to watch, like, "Oh, Jurassic Park, I've heard about it." And you would look at the back of this, everybody looks happy. It's not a happy movie.
And as a kid, I mean, this was a kid's scary movie. I mean, that's a good way to put it. I mean, I experienced it as a kid, so I don't know as an adult how I would have felt about it. I mean, and it's got really great suspense and tension in the film too.
The scene with the raptors in the kitchen would have probably scared a lot of people. So,
yeah. And again, another scan from VHScollector.com. So that's a fun site to go check out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is another one that just, as a kid and growing up, I mean, it's just so iconic. And just, even if you're like, I've seen this a million times, you go to the video store, it just, that box art would pop out at you.
Right. So, you said you were going to do 5, but you said there were you couldn't pick 5. You had trouble. So you had some honorable mentions.
I did, but this was number 6 here. And again, I mean, we love Ghostbusters at this channel.
And again, another black cover with a single logo. Most people quickly drawn to this know what this, but actually, I mean, the cover and the poster are slightly different from what I used to own, but I've seen multiple versions of Ghostbusters, but the poster though is what you saw in the movie theater, and I'm sure it was kind of cool to see. We were way too young to know what it was like in the movie theater.
But I did get to watch. Was it the 20th anniversary of this? Or maybe it was the 25th. I can't remember, but I remember watching one of the anniversary editions of this in the theater, and I took my nephews to it at the time, and so I did get to experience it in the theater, and it was a blast. To watch.
I'm sure it was. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it was. It's a shame because some of these movies we really enjoy. We didn't get to really enjoy them until we rented them at the movie store because that's how we got to see them.
But this was another film of like I was gonna say, the special effects for its time hold up really well. I mean,
right?
They came from a lot of guys that worked at ILM that had left, and it's something as a kid. It's like, how many of us wanted to, like, I wanted one of those jumpsuits. I wanted a proton pack. I wanted to be a Ghostbuster.
At one time you could rent. Yes, you could. Yeah, it was like a Halloween costume.
Well, and like, of all kind of like movie props out there, like people, and you could almost kind of consider the proton pack a weapon. I mean, it's a tool to bust ghosts, so it's kind of a weapon, kind of isn't. But like, I want to say somebody made like a list of things, and like the 2 top things were like a lightsaber and a proton pack, and I'm like, I'd want a proton pack over a lightsaber. I think if I could have anything be real like that, I would love a proton pack.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And again, this is now, I can't remember. Have we actually reviewed this film?
We have.
Okay. This is the one that I could remember off the top of my head if we had reviewed it or not.
No, we reviewed a lot of movies, but yes, we have.
I know we have. But
we kind of didn't do a review. We just kind of did like why we like it. Because most people know the movie. Now, this is the VHS that I remember with the red border.
Yes, and
because you would always see that side thing sitting vertically, and you're like, "Oh, there's Ghostbusters," because just the red trim.
Well, and this is the original. And the reason I know that is because I have this. In fact, last year, while going to the local, secondhand store, they had a copy sitting behind the register, and I asked them, like, "Oh, is that a real VHS?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Are you guys selling that?" And they're like, like, "I don't know." And they're like, "The boss here just takes stuff, that oddball stuff." And I'm like, "Can I buy it?" And they're like, "Sure." And I'm like, "Well, how much are you gonna sell it for?" And they're like, "You can have it for $1."
Wow.
And so I got it for $1, and me and the kid watched it a couple weeks ago, and I mean, it was old and gritty, but it was great. And this box art too, or this VHS sleeve, was not the kind where the tape slides out from the bottom. It actually folds in and you pull it out of the side. So you have to actually open up the flap on the side and
Yep.
slide it out that way. It was a little
And,
bit fancier box sleeve.
and it seems like, the ISBN didn't show up until you had USB, you had the barcodes, because there's no barcode on here.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
this was definitely more of the time when video stores were purchasing these and
right.
not the public. So
So you've got, yeah, very cool. You've got the nice description there. Slimer,
yep,
the four of them there. You have the big names there listed. VHS, very cool. Hi-fi
yeah.
stereo.
I always though felt bad that Ernie Hudson. I always felt like got the short end of the stick there with the
Yeah, but
name.
he came in later in the movie. He got his turn. So
I
I mean,
I know. I just still even for that. But I mean, I don't think that's any of his fellow actors' fault. That's again studio there, and just to the terror dogs. Just always scared the crap out of me as a kid.
this movie always enjoy this one. This one's always a fun
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's fun. But here come honorable mentions.
Okay, so you picked 6 and you had honorable mentions. Okay.
Yeah, and again, no box art, just posters here. But again, still things that just love. Always just stood out to me. Um,
Okay.
and one of them here is I know one of your favorites, so I didn't want to actually put that in my list, but I still named it as an honorable mention because we have not given it an official review yet. So
Oh, yeah, yeah, Back to the Future, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Alien, and then The Thing. Now, when I was a kid, I always saw The Thing in the video store. I never wanted to rent it. That right there always terrified me. Alien, it was a little creepy. I didn't watch that until I was a lot older. But I definitely rented Back to the Future and Raiders of the Lost Ark
yeah,
quite a few times. Um, my wife is solely terrified of Alien, and she'll never watch an Alien movie ever again.
really.
When she was a kid, yeah, she watched Alien thinking it was just some typical Alien movie, and it tear the. She will not watch Alien movies.
I saw it on TV as a kid, like when I was around 10, 11, and was just so intrigued by it, but terrified of it too.
Yeah, Raiders of the
And
Lost Ark. You could be scared of Raiders of the Lost Ark too.
yeah,
It was a little terrifying. But the
and
thing, I just wanted to stay away from that as much as possible.
and growing up, I remember seeing the thing and thinking the Fantastic Four. Like, did that have something to do with Fantastic Four? Was there
Really?
some kind of thing movie
Oh
that I
my
was not
god.
aware of? But as a kid, though, like when I was little, that's what I'm saying. Like I would see that, and that's what I associated with, and I was always so curious about that. And a lot of times, like the video store too, because that version that's John Carpenter's 1982 version, that was a remake of a film from the 50s called The Thing,
Yeah.
and it had a similar image too. That was it was like the thing. It was like the thing, and then in like little letters, it was like from another planet, and it later just was known as the thing. But I remember seeing those and like wondering about that as a kid. And the thing is, it's kind of surprising. I mean, Alien has been such a popular series, but in terms of frightening and scariness, the thing definitely outweighs it.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the just Back to the Future and Raiders again just have such iconic posters. Those were always posters. I mean, all four of those were always posters I felt like you saw in so many video stores, especially independently owned. Like that
Yeah,
just
and you know, each poster was unique to the movie. And nowadays a lot of the posters that you see, um, they're almost like carbon copies. It's just like this is just the next big movie with 7 different heads, and we're gonna center them in the middle.
yeah,
And you don't really get like a new kind of style. I think that kind of ended a few years ago. Like I do remember movies in the early 2000s and in the 2010s that like still has some character to them. But lately it just seems they're not really focusing on the poster anymore because you're not going to the movie theater. So
Yeah, well, I mean, where we kind of right, Raiders did that with all their, or Indiana Jones did it with all their films, but I mean, it was again kind of replicating a certain area of those serial films where those posters were like
yeah, I'm not
that.
talking about that. It just seems like
Well, no, I agree with you that we kind of saw that recently, right, with Star Wars films and even the last two Avengers films, and they
yeah,
look
they all look
so
the
similar
same.
because they use not only they're set, highly set in space, but then like they use like the same colors. Like all the highlights are like blue, green, or not, or they're blue, purple, orange, and yellow.
Right.
Are all like the highlighted colors with them too on top of it, which makes them so identical. At
Right.
least with those, they were, you could tell that they were something related to history and archaeology and
Right.
um but still, yeah, I think those are great. And then I got one final one here. And this is more based off of a movie poster um that I remember when I saw it just being so hyped for it. And
Okay.
I don't think we would have gotten, I really feel like, our MCU films if it wasn't for this film.
Uh-oh.
Because this was the Marvel version of what Batman 89 was. Even though the
Spider-Man,
X-Men
yeah.
had come out 2 years prior, the X-Men were still not known as Spider-Man. Everybody knew Spider-Man. Spider-Man was Marvel's big superhero.
Mhm.
People did not know who Captain America were. People did not know who Iron Man was. And again, same thing. They just, did not know X-Men unless it was a household where somebody was a fan of Marvel Comics.
Right, and
Um,
it's Spider-Man just kinda I remember when everyone was super excited about Spider-Man.
yeah, and not only this, but this was the original poster where it
Yeah,
had the Twin Towers.
yeah, Twin Towers, those got removed, and it even shows clips of the trailer with the Twin Towers
Yeah,
because this
and
movie released, um, almost a year later, so
yeah, and the original teaser trailer was this bank heist in the Twin Towers that, as you can see there on the far right of the
it's such a
picture.
cool trailer when he captures the
Yeah,
helicopter, it's just
and
such a cool trailer.
that scene was to actually occur in the film as well. It was going to be kind of the montage of Spider-Man, the city getting to know him and him helping around the city and stopping crime. That was actually going to be the final scene of the montage, was this bank heist that he stops and he webs in between the two towers and it got cut. And it's almost like there's part of me, it's like, I wish they would just add that in today. You know, enough
Yeah, it's
time
just too
time has enough time has passed. I feel like that scene could go back in.
yeah, it was such a I just remember the first time seeing this trailer, really excited about this movie. I mean, you did rent this movie in the movie theaters, the early 2000s, so in the movie store, so you still did that. So you still had the big posters and you still saw the DVD cover of this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had any VHS covers, but you did have a DVD cover. Very cool, man. What a great
Yeah.
list.
Yeah. I was just saying, if you were to have had this poster and kept it in good condition, it's highly collectible too.
It is. Yeah.
It is. So
Well, yeah, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, says R2. Well,
so
what a good list, man. This was fun. You picked some good ones.
thanks.
I was literally waiting for one of your like a very crude movie, like Back to School or something like that. But you did not. You did pretty good.
Oh, I mean, again, like I said, I was thinking a lot of just what caught my eye as a kid.
So no,
You know,
yeah,
I mean, Rodney Dangerfield did not necessarily catch my eye as a kid. That his confused look on his face.
yeah.
But clearly, if you've got a black background and a red logo, that's what draws me in.
Yeah, clearly it does. Well, good job, man. This was good. This was fun. Again, we are going to do my list, and so look forward to that. So if you're subscribed, make sure you hit the bell for that. And then we're also going to do. Hopefully, we're going to do Beard of Liberties as well. I'm curious what he picks. Very curious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I feel anything where you're like, I wanted to pick that one too.
No,
So
you're good. You're good. You're good. It's all good. And then before we let you go, we just want to remind everyone that if you want to help out the channel, again, you can just like and subscribe to our channel. That helps out a lot. But we do have t-shirts and hoodies. Might be a little warm for the hoodie now. But if you go to mixtees.com after the weekend dash logo, we'll give you 20% off. And you can definitely purchase that for us and rep us in the world of retro. And if you do get one, make sure you let us know either on x.com there after the weekend, or comment in the video they have one. Take a picture, send it to us. We would love to see it. I think that'd be great. Well, Rick, this was fun. This was really cool. So yeah, very exciting.
yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see you and Beard's list too. I think it's gonna be.
Yeah, and if you want to add your own tidbit, like which videos, if you liked any of these, or you're like, hey, you should have brought up this video as your favorite movie poster, let us know in the comments. So, yeah,
definitely.
Alrighty.
Well, thank you all for you joining us tonight, and
we'll see you later. Thanks for watching.